The last game won't be an end-all be-all in terms of the game that you will play, despite what the title leads on. It is not too much in terms of wild gameplay, but it does do the standard roguelike dungeon crawler well. You'll find yourself testing out different combinations of characters and items and chasing those all-elusive synergies as you attempt to take on each boss. With multiple endings and character unlocks based on hitting certain milestones, this game has something to scratch that Binding of Isaac itch, if only for a while. The last game has very simple mechanics. Walk around the room while avoiding both enemies and their projectiles, and let the auto-targeting system do its job. Eliminating all of the enemies in a room allow you to proceed and choose between one of two paths. Continue this process until you reach a boss, rinse and repeat. Enemies will progressively get harder as you go deeper and deeper into the dungeon, ultimately finding out more and more about the story. Yes, there is a story. It is not groundbreaking, but rather unexpected, and it incorporates later bosses very well. You have several characters you can choose from, several difficulties, and you can unlock altars that hold items that can be persistently used on subsequent playthroughs. The game does the roguelike concept well by being able to create some really fun synergies. It allows you to completely ruin your build if some of the items that you decide to get later on do not work well at all. You'll find yourself grabbing whatever you can find on your first several playthroughs, quickly finding that some items you want to stay away from. I really found myself drawn to some of the characters as they can drastically change the playstyle. For example, one has a flail that spins in the room, forcing you to change a position as opposed to just staying on the edge. And one has a shotgun, forcing you to get up close and personal. I didn't know what to expect when I picked up the game, and I was happily surprised and impressed multiple times. The most notable downside of the game is some of the early bosses. I did not feel like they contributed much to the overarching story that was being told, and far too often I felt that they could be beaten by just keeping your distance. The bullet hell mechanics of the game could have been more leveraged during these fights, making them more engaging. Another thing that should be mentioned is that the game is not super clear on how to progress the story. I found myself completing 3 full runs, considering that certain parts were not fully explained on how I could progress. Hint: you can open the door to another floor after the final boss with a glove that you unlock at an altar you get after beating it for the first time. The last thing I want to mention here is that games like this can be very feast or famine. There are quite a few builds that you can make, but if you've never played a roguelike, this may not be the best one, even though it is one of the simplest. Overall, at $1.99, you shouldn't expect the game to be groundbreaking. Spoiler alert, it's not. But it is a very good value for that price. I played the game for 4 hours and could still go back and complete the encyclopedia, beating every boss with every character. Runs are pretty quick to get in and out of, so it is truly a mobile dungeon crawling roguelike experience. I would say to check it out, as the barrier of entry is easily justifiable. Plus, I think it's great to support lesser known titles. If you have any recommendations for me to review, leave it in the comments section below. Otherwise, stay tuned in to Gaming in the Moment.